Welcome back to Stylized Station, a platform dedicated to sharing free knowledge with the digital art community. As a new and budding artist, there are a lot of skills you'll need to master to start a successful career in the game art industry. One of those skills is being able to quickly and efficiently make a variety of 3D props and assets. Today, you and I are going to learn how to make a stylized prop from start to finish, and learn a ton of useful tips and tricks that pros like Carlos use in their workflow, like sculpting, presentation, and texturing. Speaking of texturing, if you want to learn how to master stylized texturing using Substance Painter, feel free to join our latest course, where you'll learn how to create beautiful stylized textures from scratch, including anime and Studio Ghibli-style textures. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to consider getting the course. Now let's get into the video.
Hi, my name is Carlos Lopez Suarez, and I will explain how I made this coffin. I like to start create a base model. This way I can go testing various shapes and details. And in the future, when I make a retopology, I can use this base model to create a quirky process. Next is the turn to sculpting the model. For this coffin, we have two materials, wood and metal. For create the wood in this coffin, I separate the part with wonderboards to be able to give more details to each piece and not in general. When I create the patterns of the wood, I only use a mask lasso and move brush. These two tools is enough for me for create these patterns, but of course you can use a trim dynamic for create a little bevel in the borders, or for example use a famous orb crack for more details. But I think the two first tools is very nice for create beautiful patterns and interesting patterns. For metal, I use high polish to create a regular superfice. This very nice because the look final look is typical metal force rods, and for more details, for example great details damage, use trim dynamics for the edges a little, and grip curve for create a nice cut in the borders, and using orb crack but in reverse to create more variations in the superface. For create the nails, I using only a typical cylinder with a little bevel. But if you put a cylinder normally in a model, in a superfice, it's not very nice, because the effect is not a typical push nails when this piece handmade. So I use the brush standard with draw rec and alpha number 12. I think the 13 can be, but I only use 12 because I think the effect is very nice, and using a high intensity for create the effect, the push nail. And of course create more details in the hole and the nail. When I create the skull and the teeth, I don't know how trip I explain, but I use the sphere with Dynamesh, and I think so. This more practice, see more anatomy, and of course more reference stylized. The brush normally I use is the Move Clay Build Up High Polish. High Polish for create these nice borders, typical border for stylized art. For create the detail, the bot detail, another skull, I use the skull I made and smash because this for bake and this prepare for a bake in the future. I moved the bonnet boards a little curved because also in general shapes should be more curved. And the stylized art is always presenting something unusual, and the stylized art combines very well. This is the one reason I like the stylized art. Is a door for to immerse fantasy worlds and fantasy adventures for create and experiment. For the bake, I prefer use marble cell with a specific skylight, Canadian grazer. With this lighting, I can see the imperfection disappear very easy. I also created different bake group for a different part of the model. In this way, the bake rate will look much better. The texturing is the most fun part for me. Is the final process when the project or the model is cool, very nice. In this project, I thought to use only base color and using different fill layers for create the texture. The first one is the normal base color, the color of the material. The second one I use is the edge light. Normally is the base color but more saturated. The next two layers is a color variation. The first one is green because it's a complementary color, and the second is the base color but more saturated. These two colors have a fill. I put a fill, a texture cell, alpha cell number 4, with a blur slope because it look very more hand painted. Another one, the second variation column, I put a little blur for more details and more variations in these colors. And of course, using the map, the ambient occlusion, and a second ambient occlusion for more hard for mark more the details the model. I create this gradient with a position map for create this effect and create the effect, the more volume, more details for the texture. I like use foref with mask for separate different parts of the model. This helps for not touch something different the part I like it modify. In the second material, this case is a metal. The process is more or less the same, using the base color. Next one, mark the edge, and another base color variation. But in this part I use a folder with Rust. Thanks with this folder with mask, I can modify and put more Rust in the metal and not influence the wood. So I think so is very nice this technique, because you can touch something with a security of not destroy the another texture. And I put another gradient, something more bottom to top, for create this false ambient occlusion. Of course, the gradient is the base color, but more darkness for create this false ambient occlusion. This fill layer, this last fill layer is I think so is the most important, because create this effect stylized with the model. I use a normal fill layer, turn off all except the color filter, and I add a filter, a specific filter. The name is backlighting stylized. This effect create a bake for the model in the sky right now, and put a lighting effect is very nice. Of course, the opacity of this layer is very slow, because too much create hard light and can destroy all textures, and is not very nice to see. Now is the final step, create the renders. I use normally a background with default color, but little darkness. So when we put lighting, of course, the light in front the model, we not touch this intensity light, but the shadow is bad, because it's too hard, and focus the cause there is to focus in this dark, and we like it that the people see the model, not the shadows. How do we fix this? Simple. Add a skylight and delete the brightness to 0 and remove the shadow. This create a shadow more soft, more beautiful for the model. And of course, if we put a shadow catcher, we create a little ambient occlusion in the bottom, and look very nice. I hope you have learned something. It's my first video explain how I made it something. For me, it has been an honor, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.